Alright guys, today we're going over the pieces of plot. This might be a review for you, but it might not. We've got some fun video clips and some notes to take, so make sure you have your reader's notebook. If not, pause this video, go grab it, and then come back. Alright guys, so just like that roller coaster, we kind of think of plot like that. You start out down here, you're going straight, it's not all that exciting, and then something happens and you start going up, and that's that slow clicking and you know that the top is coming. Then the top comes and this is the most exciting part and you start going down. And where this flat lines again is where you've seen the end. So in your notebook, we're about to label all these parts. So here's what your notebook page should look like. I want a title that says parts of plot, and then I want you to draw that little mountain. So there's a flat line, a dot here at the corner where it goes up, down, and another flat line. Make sure you've got that at the top. Underneath that, we're going to have your keywords and your definitions and details, okay? But the first thing you need to do is make sure you've got this up here because you're going to label that before we even start the keywords and details. Now you've got your line drawn. Let me show you where the parts are. This first part down here where it's flat is the exposition, so go ahead and label that on your mountain, exposition. This next part over here is the conflict. That's where the initial problem happens. Remember, fiction always has a problem and a solution. That's your conflict, is where your problem starts. Rising action is where you're starting to click up the hill. You know something's happening. The events keep getting more and more exciting as you get up to the top. The top is up here, that point up here, and it's the climax. That climax is the most important, exciting part of the story. And then you've got the falling action, where you're going down the hill and you're getting closer to solving all the problems. This last little straight line right here is the resolution. Take a minute and pause the video if you need to. I want you to label all of these parts. Don't worry about writing the definition yet. You're going to do that next. So the first word you're going to write is plot. Plot's just the events of the story. So you're going to write plot on the side for the keywords, and right across from that, the definition, the events of a story. You should be able to squeeze that all on one line, I would think. There we go. Pause this video at any time, guys. I'm going to keep going. Your next part's your exposition. That was this part right here. Exposition is the intro. It's the introduction. It's where we learn the character and setting. I need you to write this whole definition for me. The introduction, where we learn the character. I'm going to even bold that. And setting. Remember, those are some of our elements of fiction. We've really got to remember those. Next part, you've got your rising action. This is where the events get more and more exciting. We won't forget about the climax. I can even add that in over here. Let's see. Exposition, move all that up. And I'm going to add in climax. Or conflict, sorry. conflict is where the problem starts. Problem starts. There we go. And then rising action is going to be where the events get more exciting. If you got those out of order, that's okay, because I did too. Next, we're scrolling down the page. The climax was the top of that mountain. It's the most important event of the book, or where the character really has to try and face their problem. So right, the most important event of the book, or facing the problem. The falling action is where that thing starts to go down. This is where the problems start to get solved. You're starting to see where the end of the story is going to head. You can start making guesses about how you think the story can end right here in the falling action. The resolution is how the story ends and the problem gets solved. Look at resolution and you see that word solution. Remember, fiction stories have a character setting, a problem, and a solution. That's what the resolution is. It's how the story gets solved. What's the solution to the problem? Now, on your next page, I want you to draw another little mountain, just like this on your page, and I want you to put the parts of plot for Lifted. You're about to watch a Pixar short cartoon, and you need to be thinking about the parts of Lifted because we're going to label them on here together. So watch the video, think about the different parts of the plot that we can put in here. Alright, guys, so let's think of the plot parts of Lifted. Remember, the exposition comes first. That's way over here. And that tells us the character and the setting. So our character and setting were what? The boy asleep in his house in a field, right? This is where we learn who we're learning about and what they are. The conflict. What's the thing that kind of starts off the action? That would be the boy getting lifted up, right? The boy gets lifted out of bed. Where our action kind of starts going. And then we've got this rising action right here where the events kind of start getting more exciting. So the boy gets lifted out of bed, and then another part of the conflict actually is that the alien, we learn he doesn't know how to get the boy out, right? The alien doesn't know how. That's another part of our conflict. Then we're going to start the rising action. This is all those little mess ups where the alien keeps messing up and gets mad. Alien keeps messing up and gets mad is going to be our rising action right here. That's where he keeps trying and bumping the boy's head and throwing him all over the room. That next part is the climax. That's where the big event happens and then we start trying to solve the problem. So the big event for us is when the alien almost gets the boy but drops him. Drops him right out of the spaceship. And then what happens? This is where we start solving the problem. The boy is falling through space. And then what happens? The alien teacher saves the boy, right? He doesn't let him die. He saves the boy and puts everything back together. Puts it all back together. I'm going to make that a little longer. So the alien teacher saves the boy, puts all of his stuff back together. And what's the solution or the resolution? How does the story end? Well, the alien boy gets to drive the spaceship, right? But he crashes the spaceship. The boy is safe, barely, right? The rest of his house is gone, but at least he's safe. That's how our story ends. Go ahead and take a second to catch up if you need to. Think about it as you go, where all of these parts are in our story. The next thing I want you to do is do another little mountain. You can do this at the bottom of the page if you have room. You don't have to take up another page if you don't need to. And you're going to do parts of plot, knickknacks. This one you're going to watch on your own and fill out the different parts. You can do this with your partner or on your own. But just like we did up here, and I would even use this as an example, I want you to fill out what you think the different parts of knickknacks are. This stays in your reader's notebook. You don't have to tear this out. I'll be grading it from your reader's notebook. So here's knickknacks, and then fill this out and shut your reader's notebook. Oh, let me pull it up. Hold on. Alright guys, so if you have any questions, write them on a post-it note so that I can address them. Just stick them on the door so that we can talk about them later. Otherwise, fill out that chart and put your reader's notebook back on the shelf.